All right, ready to dig into something delicious. We're talking birthday cake.
Ah, everyone loves a good birthday cake.
I know, right? But we're going beyond the sprinkles and candles today. Got some research that'll change how you see that slice of cake, I
Oh,
promise.
this I got to hear. What have we got?
Okay, so one article by Reason, it's all about the cultural side of cake, especially the icing. Like, what's the big deal with all that frosting?
Right, right.
And then, get this, there's this other study, Albon, and it's about birthday cakes, but specifically in preschools, kindergartens, those early years setting.
Now, that is interesting. You wouldn't think it would be much to study there.
Right, but apparently it gets kind of controversial.
Oh, boy. Parents and teachers, I bet.
Seriously. But first up, let's stick with Reeson and this whole icing fascination. It's more than just sweetness, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Rissen's point is the icing isn't needed.
Hmm.
Cake can exist without it, but it adds this, I don't know, extra pleasure. But it's mostly visual,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Like, think about when we say icing on the cake.
Hmm.
It's extra, maybe even unnecessary, a little frivolous,
Uh-huh, yeah.
and often seen as a feminine thing, too, which is a whole other discussion.
Yeah.
But for celebration cakes, birthdays especially, it's like the icing is the point.
So true, you put so much work into decorating a cake, it's more than just a treat then?
Exactly.
My nephew, last birthday, dinosaur cake, but like hyper realistic. And I think I was more blown away by the skill than he was.
It becomes a spectacle, right? All those fancy cakes, it shows off how good the baker is, but also how important the occasion is.
Uh,
Putting in that effort to make it look good, that says something. Like wedding cakes. Those massive things, that's engineering, but it's also showing off, hey, this event is huge, E.
and you better hope you saved room after dinner.
Right. But it proves a point. Food, in this case cake, it does more than just feed you. It's a message, a symbol.
Those wedding cakes are definitely sending a message. But you're totally right. It's not just about liking sweet stuff. Cakes, especially ones with tons of icing, they're communicating something.
Exactly.
Makes you look at those bakery windows differently? It's not just sugar, it's a whole visual language. But speaking of different early childhood education, this is where Album comes in. And get this, birthday cakes are seen as risky there.
Risky. How so? Sugar high. Kids hopped up on frosting.
Well, that's part of it, I'm sure, especially with a classroom of 5-year-olds.
Oh, I can only imagine.
But it's more about the whole health thing, right? We're all supposed to be cutting down on sugar, teaching kids healthy habits.
Right, from a young age.
And then boom, giant frosted cake for someone's birthday. Mixed messages much.
It's a real dilemma.
Mm.
Albin found that it's not just about the cake, though. Little kids, they're learning rituals, how to be social.
Makes sense.
And birthdays, those are big rituals at that age.
Huge.
So it's this clash between trying to be healthy and upholding these traditions.
That's parenting in a nutshell, right? I always walk in that line.
It really is. Trying to let kids be individuals, but also part of the group with its own rules.
My niece's daycare, they were strict. Homemade treats only because of allergies, diets, all that. Which, I get it, but it did make things feel less celebratory?
Yeah, it's tough, right? Teachers want to make birthdays special, help kids bond, and food is a big part of that. But then you've got health concerns, and the rules are always changing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, birthday cake, simple as it seems, it's at the center of this whole debate.
It really makes you think about it differently, doesn't it?
It does.
It's true. Those classroom parties can be a minefield. But you know what else Albon talked about? The cake as this way of like marking time for little kids. Each birthday, you're another year older. And that cake with your name on it, it's proof.
Right. It's not just any birthday, it's yours. And for a kid in preschool, surrounded by classmates all the time, that's a big deal. Makes you special, even though you're part of this group.
Makes you think about how much emphasis we put on individual expression these days, even from such a young age. Like, everyone gets a trophy, everyone's special day is a big deal.
And that's reflected in these rituals, right? Birthday cake, it's always been around. But how we do it, what it means, that changes with us.
So, cake is basically a mirror to society. That's kind of deep for a Tuesday morning.
Hey, that's what these deep dives are for.
Yeah.
But before we go too far down that rabbit hole, anything from these articles really stick out to you?
So much to think about.
I know, right?
But I think what gets me is this push and pull between celebrating and, I don't know, control. Like, we want those over-the-top cakes, but then worry about excess?
Absolutely. Reason touched on that, but it's even more obvious with the kids, like Alvin studied. Celebrating a birthday, great. But then anxiety creeps in about health, what others will think.
And who gets to decide where the line is? That's what I want to know.
$1 million question. And Albun's work, it kind of points that out, even if she doesn't answer it outright.
Because it's rarely the birthday kid making all the choices.
Exactly. You've got parents,
Yeah.
right? Meaning well, but maybe stuck on how things were their childhoods.
Oh, 100%. I've seen those arguments. But we always had cake.
Every time. Then you've got the schools, juggling allergies, what's healthy now, the sheer logistics of dozens of kids, birthdays all year.
It's parents versus teachers versus, heck, even the kids themselves sometimes. And we haven't even gotten into how much advertising plays into this. It's true. You think it's just cake, but there are all these other factors.
Like
right?
tons. We didn't even get into the marketing side. Like they're aiming all that sugary cereal and candy at kids, telling them it's fun, it's for birthdays. Makes you wonder, are we really celebrating them or just teaching them to be good consumers?
Whoa. Okay, I hadn't thought of it that way, but you're right. It's easy to just go along with the whole birthday cake thing without realizing what's behind it.
Exactly. But once you start thinking critically,
Yeah.
right, not just about cake, but anything we do, that's when you can make choices that are, actually your choices.
So, next birthday party, about to enjoy some cake. I should be thinking about all this. Deep stuff for a slice of frosting.
See, delicious and thought-provoking. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Your cake tells a story. You just got to know how to read it.
I'll never look at birthday cake the same way again. Thanks to you. This has been enlightening, to say the least.
Glad to hear it. These deep dives, they really make you see the everyday stuff differently.
No kidding. Well, that wraps up this week's exploration. Until next time, everyone, keep those minds curious and maybe save a slice of cake for us.
Here, here.